there is no doubt that Trump taking a hand and putting his foot down has forced Netanyahu. Trump is a supremacist in the full sense. He wants to make it clear, I am the boss and you will take orders from me, and the White House will not do what Netanyahu wants.
So, do you think it's a loss for Netanyahu or is it a win situation?
See, it is definitely a setback to Netanyahu's power. The worst genocide in human memory in recent history has been brought to an end. Trump will talk and has said he can talk to Russia.
Okay.
He has already talked to Chinese President Xi Jinping. Russia too has a relationship with Israel. It's a secret relationship. One doesn't know on what basis Russia and Israel relate to each other. But you will not find much open conflict.
We switched to Israel-Hamas ceasefire. We recently, yesterday only, we saw the ceasefire happening. Now, Biden says that he has done it before leaving the office. But Trump, on the other hand, says that it's his fear, or Trump supporters are saying that it's his fear which made the ceasefire happen. So what do you think? Who is the real peacemaker in this situation?
It's not what I think. It's kind of, both have been creating perceptions. It's a question of perception. What really went on, we knew that there were long agonizing talks for more than 90 or 96 hours in Qatar and Doha, where these people were all talking. But I think in large measure, everybody knew that the war would have to end before the new president came in. So Biden would not have wanted to stay out of it all the time. But there is no doubt that Trump taking a hand and putting his foot down has forced Netanyahu to this thing. As somebody said, he must have taken Netanyahu's arm and twisted it. And when he didn't bend, then he would have told him in his ear, I want you to do this or I'm going to break your arm. Well, he didn't exactly do that, but he nearly did that in civil terms. For instance, who did he send? He didn't send any political figure. He sent a man called Steve Witkoff, who's a builder. And builder, a construction magnate, a real estate. We all know the kind of people who deal with those who get work done in the construction industry and what kind of language they use. So the story, the report is that Witkoff went and he said he wanted to come there and hold talks. And they said, oh, this is Sabbath day. So I think he told them something which is not printable, nor can I repeat it here, which made Netanyahu kind of quickly bow down to whatever was being asked and send officials who could negotiate. So what I would say is that Netanyahu ceased being de facto president of the US, which he was as long as Biden was running the show. And Trump is a supremacist in the full sense. He wants to make it clear, I am the boss and you will take orders from me, and the White House will not do what Netanyahu wants.
Okay, so that's quite a big statement. Also, many people are saying that it's a loss for Netanyahu to take 3 hostages in return of 90 prisoners. And many people are saying, even in Netanyahu's own government, they are saying that this should not be done. And many ministers have said that they will resign if the ceasefire happens. So, do you think it's a loss for Netanyahu or is it a win situation?
See, it is definitely a setback to Netanyahu's power. First and foremost, he has lost all leverage with the US. And Trump has moved in unexpected ways. When he was in office last time, the person he entrusted to deal with Israel and the West Asian situation and Saudi Arabia, which led to the Abraham Accords, was his son-in-law Jared Kushner. This time Kushner is not on the scene. It was none of the political heavyweight. He chose a man who will be a messenger and who will show his fist if necessary and use hard words when called for. So it clearly shows that he is moving beyond diplomacy to exercise power and get the outcome that he wants. And what is the outcome he wants? He wanted an end to the war because it is unrealistic to expect that anybody can finish Hamas or the aspiration for a Palestine. That cannot happen, and I think Netanyahu was saying that so that he could keep the war going.
Okay. Sir, also, what do you think that after Trump takes office, what's going to be the situation in Middle East? Because we saw a government takeover of in Syria, then this Israel-Hamas ceasefire. Then how Trump's taking office this year is going to make difference in the Middle East?
Trump taking office, the first and foremost thing to be kept in mind is that the worst genocide in human memory in recent history has been brought to an end. And to the eternal shame, disgrace, and criminality of the US administration led by Joe Biden, it was party to the genocide. The US could not have waged this war, Israel could not have waged this war against Palestinians as it did, but for 70% of its resources, including arms and ammunition, coming from the US government and being supported by the Western powers out of hostility to Hamas. So one can say that now people will have to, there's been a change in Syria as well. And the US is an occupying force in Syria. The US army is very much there on the ground in Syria.
Active, yes.
Okay? So here is a security situation where what happened in Syria could not have happened without the tacit consent of, say, Russia, which has been the only security challenge to the US in Syria particularly.
Yes, the only Assad supporter.
Yes. So I think everybody is prepared for change in Syria because it was inevitable.
Okay.
And the US itself otherwise had designated these organizations as terrorists, but they found that regardless of whatever hedging they did, these organizations had, it's much like the Taliban, when they eventually took Kabul because they had the rest of Afghanistan. It's a reality that cannot be denied, you have to come to terms with. So the first thing now, I think, is if the big powers work together, because Trump will talk and has said he can talk to Russia.
Okay.
He has already talked to Chinese President Xi Jinping.
Okay.
And it is the Chinese president who brokered the deal between Saudi Arabia and Iran.
Okay.
So one can see that gradually things might move in the direction of the Arab states led by Saudi Arabia and the Organization of Islamic countries in which both Iran and Saudi Arabia are influential figures, and with the US and Russia also going along. So what exactly will happen, we cannot plot the steps right now. But definitely, there's going to be a clear break with what Biden had done.
So on the back foot, are we going to see a fight between US and Russia in the Middle East ground?
There will definitely be a jostling for power because there is almost no conflict in the world in which the big powers are not involved.
Definitely.
And it is an exercise in carving out spheres of influence by each of them. They want their respective spheres of influence. But at the same time, they'll have to acknowledge that somebody, in this case, clearly now, Trump has the upper hand, especially if he's able to leash Netanyahu as he has done. And Russia might go along because Russia too has a relationship with Israel. It's a secret relationship. One doesn't know on what basis Russia and Israel relate to each other. But you will not find much open conflict or exchange of hostile words between Israel and Russia.
Yes, we don't see it openly being done.
Yes.
Don't miss out. Log on to OneIndia.com for more updates.